LaMelo Ball speaking out for the first time since his crash in Uptown. What he had to say to reporters after playing in last night's game against the Rockets.
And we're live in Milan for the final weekend of the Olympic Games.
And today's events could solidify Team USA's standing on the podium. Those stories and much more live, local, and breaking news coming up at 7 a.m. on WCNC+.
If you take I-77 northbound, you're going to want to pay attention to this one. This is going to be the biggest story right now as we're looking at our traffic report. We have a slowdown there. This is going to be I-77 northbound lanes. That is at Remount Road, backed up to Tyvola, so about a 3-mile backup. I like to see that traffic is at least moving, but it's not moving as good as it should be. We're going to be following this for you coming up on WCNC+. Chris?
All right, this is amazing. 80 degrees, the warmest day of the year, even though it's still very early in 2026. But it's a record-breaking day, a record-breaking warm start. We'll have a chance for a passing shower and even a thunderstorm. The 60s tomorrow with a slight chance for rain. Rain creeps in for your Sunday morning, but then after that, we see the big cool down. But let's just live here at 80 degrees while we can. It's going to be great.
We will take it. Well, from the 80 degrees to ice, time now for your morning boost. Last month's ice storm hit Tennessee hard, leaving thousands without power for days, some for weeks. Now, a first grade class in Nashville is saying thank you. Students created a book and a video to show their appreciation for Nashville Electric Service line workers who worked those long days in dangerous conditions to restore the power. The linemen say the gesture was heartwarming and a reminder their hard work is making a difference.
All right, of course, the latest headlines and your forecast for the weekend coming up at 7 a.m. on WCNC+. Stream with us. Streaming live right now at 7 a.m. on a Friday morning here on WCNC Plus. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Lisa Washington. We start things off this Friday morning with a check of that WCNC weather impact forecast. Chris is standing by.
Oh, it feels so good out there. Try not to get emotional. I'm just joking. 67 degrees. It feels so good outside. I do not have a heavy coat on this morning. Now, it depends on your tolerance, but there was a time that we just wanted our highs to maybe say hello 60s. Instead, we're starting at that point. Yesterday morning was a record warm start. We're doing it again. Yesterday afternoon, a record high. We're doing that again as well. So welcome to just a nice little string of records. It is going to be a delightful forecast overall. Here's the deal, though. We are going to see a big drop behind there. Sometimes the higher you go, the bigger the drop you could potentially have. And our pollen forecast is still around a moderate to a high going forward, especially with those winds picking up as well. So let's get right to our warmer morning forecast. Going forward, we're expecting to be right around this range, 66, 67, up into the lower 70s. Going to be delightful. And so far, our morning low is 65 degrees. That's a smash. So that's an easy new record, and it's safe. Oftentimes, you can have a warm start to the day, but then a cold front moves in, and then you hit our coldest part of the day by about midnight. That is true, but we're not going to drop so much that it's down into the 50s yet. So it looks to be a safe record for today, and a record high. Moved it up to 80 degrees. I know, being bold. 77 is the current record set back in 2014, but I think this is going to be an easy smash. We've been calling 79 most of the week. That's going to be the big difference, but eventually we're going to start to cool down. Check out the difference. Right now we're at 67. We're going to be about a 10-degree temperature drop that just changed on me, 57 by tomorrow. So here's what's going on right now. We're dealing with a little bit of rain. That rain is moving pretty fast, moving at about 45 to 55 miles per hour as a front is getting a little bit closer to us. We did have a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings associated with that, but then it's starting to weaken as it's pushing into the mountains and also hitting the most stable part of the day. It was a little more unstable, and there's always better storm conditions further off towards the west, over to Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi, Arkansas, et cetera, et cetera. Our current rainfall futurecast shows this storm system breaking up substantially over the next couple of hours. Has 8 o'clock it draped right across from Shelby up to Lincolnton. I think the prime time is between 8 and 10 o'clock for the Charlotte area, and then on the rise, temperatures in the mid-70s, feeling perfect right around lunchtime. If you can get outside, enjoy this. But one thing, it's going to be a breezy day. You don't get this warm this time of year without it being windy. So we're cranking winds out of the west and out of the westerly direction throughout the day. And then by tomorrow, we're still dealing with a little bit of rain. But I want to show you this. We have a chance for rain in the morning with more cloud cover, but watch. We see a significant difference south of us. So here, I'm going to slow that down for you. You have widespread storms really around Macon, Georgia, down to the south. That's still going to be some chance for rain really in South Carolina, late morning heading into the early afternoon, say around Chesterfield or Bennettsville, for instance, but not really going to be anything big deal. At least you're not going to be driving through this neck of the woods from Macon over to Charleston. That's where you're seeing the worst of the storms. Anything north of there, you're pretty much good to go. Might even see a little bit of sunshine for the afternoon, but the clouds are going to be pretty dominant. So the way that looks, let's get right to your Saturday. Seeing Saturday afternoon, here's some of the breaks. Temperatures in the mid to the upper 60s. We don't really have the cooler effects until we head into Sunday. Now, next time you see me, I'm going to get to our 7-day forecast in just 1 second. See how we have a little bit of rain on Sunday and then it changes over to snow up in the mountains? There is a chance that this storm system becomes a little bit more widespread, which would linger more rain into your Sunday. That's actually good news because it's a nice soaking rain. That's the only change that I think you could see in the forecast because it's still 2 days out. There's always something that could interrupt that because the developing low pressure system could be a plague for areas to the northeast. It still could start to strengthen and gain more rain. So when you're watching Becca tomorrow morning, hopefully you join us on the weekends as well. That's where you might be able to see that shift. But one thing that's not changing is the cool down. We have 2 mornings that are starting at freezing. Monday and Tuesday morning in the mid to the upper 20s. That's truly not too bad and not unusual. But when you start at 60 degrees and 65, that is mean. That is a big, stark difference. Doing the math for you, that's about a 35 to 40 degree difference compared to what we have today. And then 62, 61 with another chance for rain heading into next Thursday, where next Thursday could be our first chance for rain that we've had either on a Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, or Thursday, because all the others have been either Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. And look at that. We're not breaking the mold, at least in the near term. Let's see if our morning traffic is breaking the mold. Last time when we ended WCNC Charlotte, things were changing.
Yeah, we definitely have a few important things you're going to want to know about if you are heading out the door anytime soon. A handful of ongoing crashes now that we are just past 7 o'clock this morning. This one here is probably the most problematic. I-77. If you take that northbound, you have a significant slowdown, stop and go traffic because of a crash right here. Once we zoom it in, it is bringing delays, mainly northbound lanes being impacted because of the crash, but even southbound lanes, we do have just slow moving morning traffic. The crash itself is right out there at Remount Road. That's exit 8. It's backed up to about exit 5. That is Tyvola. Here's one of my live camera shots giving you perspective as to how slow moving traffic is this morning. Again, mile marker 7 near Clanton. Cars right now almost at a standstill. You can see traffic is slowly moving. So if you take I-77 northbound, I would allow for plenty of extra drive time to get to where you need to be this morning. Otherwise, it's incredibly foggy for areas right along I-40 and north of that, less than a half of a mile of visibility if you're out there in Hickory. Another thing to mention, though, is right here on South Boulevard, northbound lanes at I-485. Another crash just popped up. We're going to learn more about this, and I'll let you know what else is going on this Friday morning. Coming up here soon.
We start with a breaking news update in East Charlotte, where CMPD has made an arrest in a deadly road rage shooting. James Rothwell is facing multiple charges, including murder, in connection to Thursday's homicide. He's set to face a judge this morning. Police say the violence started with an argument in a Food Lion parking lot that quickly escalated to gunfire. The victim was later found dead at a nearby apartment complex. We spoke with a man who frequently shops in that area and said he's never seen anything quite like this.
It's sad because, like I said, everybody has disagreements, but it shouldn't result in somebody getting killed. And I don't know what needs to be done or could be done, but people, or you can't even look at people. You look at people wrong. If you say something wrong, everybody will result to violence.
An investigation is currently ongoing.
This morning, a woman remains in jail accused of hitting a man with her car. It happened in a parking lot just off East Independence Boulevard in Matthews. Police say 28-year-old Anna Lippincott hit the man after a domestic dispute. She's charged with assault with a deadly weapon with intent to kill. That man was airlifted to the hospital with serious injuries. At last check, he was listed as medically stable. Right now, a wanted fugitive in Gastonia is behind bars. Gastonia police tell us U.S. Marshals arrested 40-year-old Otis Hunter Thursday. Hunter was wanted for several charges, including discharging a weapon into an occupied property and 4 counts of domestic assault.
7:07 right now. After more than 3 decades, police may have cracked a cold case that's baffled them for years. The brutal murder of a young mother inside her Cotswold home. WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane now live outside CMPD headquarters in Uptown. So, Richard, the man under arrest is one that's been connected to the case from the very beginning. So what led to this break in the case?
Some new technology, according to CMPD. Good morning to you, Ben. Good morning, Lisa. Good Friday morning, everyone. Yeah, after 35 years, police have said they have the suspect, and it's somebody who actually was somebody who they called a person of interest way back when this incident first happened. Now, CMPD says this man, Marion Gales, long considered a person of interest, taken into custody at a home in Charlotte. He had been released from prison just last March in an unrelated case. Investigators say advances in DNA technology allowed forensic experts to re-examine evidence collected from Kim Thomas's home on Churchill Road in the Cotswold neighborhood. The updated testing linked Gales to DNA found at the scene. Kim Thomas was discovered dead in 1990, handcuffed with her throat slashed multiple times. Her baby lay in a crib nearby, unharmed. Thomas's husband, Dr. Edward Friedland, was once considered the primary suspect, but charges were later dropped. In '97, he successfully sued Marion Gales for wrongful death, but Gales was never arrested. Police reopened the case in 2010 and say the investigation remains ongoing. Gales had previously pleaded guilty to manslaughter in a separate 2009 case involving the death of a woman. Authorities say the renewed forensic work ultimately led to the new murder charge in Thomas's killing.
It becomes incorporated into our investigative processes. We go back and revisit cases that remain open to determine whether information that's been previously collected may be reevaluated, retested, or reanalyzed to give us new leads or to verify information that we had, theories that remain unproven. And in this case, it was just that type of technological advancement that allowed our crime laboratory to take evidence that was previously collected, reevaluate it, and bring clarity to that evidence.
It's important to note also that you heard the deputy chief saying evidence that was previously collected. That evidence had been there for years. Freeland's lawyer had asked for that evidence to be retested. It just was now. We can tell you Marion Gales will have his first appearance in a Mecklenburg County courthouse in just a little bit. We'll have complete details of what comes out of that, both here and on all of our platforms. We're right here at CMPD headquarters. Richard Evang, we'll send it back to you.
Richard, thanks. Right now, a courthouse fight has left one man in the hospital and a grieving father in custody. Police say the father of Jamari Dixon, the teen killed in a North Charlotte shooting last year, went after the man who is accused of murdering his son, Marion McKnight. This is some video from that crime scene last May. A victims' rights group says the father reached a breaking point after months of what they call taunting and intimidation from McKnight. They're demanding county and court leaders do more to protect families who come to court seeking justice. McKnight is recovering in the hospital. Dixon's father is now facing charges.
This morning, we are hearing from Hornet star LaMelo Ball just days after this head-on crash in Uptown sent one person to the hospital. Ball was not injured in the crash and was on the floor last night against the Rockets. He spoke about the accident after the game.
Fortunate, just everybody cool, so just blessings. God is great.
Can you put into words the last 24 hours with you, how it's been emotional for you to have to deal with that and then come here and play a game tonight on top of that?
I'm just alive, blessed for him. So God is great, like I said.
CMPD continues to investigate the crash. LaMelo and the Hornets are back on the court tonight against Cleveland.
Next, the fallout deepens with global authorities closing in and lawmakers demanding answers after the Department of Justice's explosive release. We'll listen in. .14 now. We're taking a look at some aerial footage of Nancy Guthrie's home. This is in Tucson, Arizona, as the search for the 84-year-old enters its 20th day. Federal and local authorities say they are still chasing every lead, with the FBI reporting having received more than 19,000 tips. DNA from a glove found 2 miles away from Guthrie's home did not match anything in the system, nor did it match the DNA that was collected on her property. Investigators are now turning to genetic genealogy. That's a method that has helped solve several high-profile cases. Rewards are being offered as the search for the mother of Today co-host Savannah Guthrie continues. An 83-year-old Kentucky woman is back home after authorities say she was found with a former caregiver.
Gail Crane lives alone on a rural stretch of farmland, and friends say it was only because somebody stopped by to help clean that anybody realized that she was gone and missing. The local fire department was called in, launching a search that included drones and four-wheelers as crews raced against fading daylight to find any sign of her, leading to a pursuit and traffic stop where Crane was found in the caregiver's car.
We jumped right on it. I wanted them to try to get eyes on to see if Miss Crane was with Miss Lang, and they found the vehicle we were looking for.
Crane was taken to the hospital with minor injuries and later returned safely home. The former caregiver charged with kidnapping, along with some other charges as well. Caught on camera, a woman at the Las Vegas airport seen walking away from her dog before leaving it tied to a baggage sizer at the JetBlue counter. Take a look. Police say she abandoned the animal after being denied boarding for not completing the required service dog paperwork. Officers later found her at a departure gate where she claimed the dog had a tracking device and would find its way back. She was arrested and charged while airport staff and officers cared for the 2-year-old doodle mix. The dog, now named JetBlue, is safe in foster care and will soon be placed in a permanent new home.
7:16 now. Investigations are underway as fallout continues in the aftermath of the Department of Justice's release of files connected to Jeffrey Epstein. NBC's Alice Barr reports as American lawmakers vowed to keep looking into Epstein's circle.
This morning, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor is out of custody but not in the clear after UK police arrested the former prince Thursday on suspicion of misconduct in public office after detectives reviewed documents revealed in the release of the Jeffrey Epstein files.
Your Majesty, how are you feeling after your brother's arrest?
King Charles, in a formal statement, pledged full support for the investigation into his brother as the world reacts.
I think it's a shame. I think it's very sad.
The former prince has not been charged with a crime, though police say he remains under investigation. Among the Epstein files the Justice Department released, emails Mountbatten Windsor allegedly sent to Epstein in 2010, appearing to share British government documents following the former prince's overseas visits as a trade envoy. In separate allegations, the late Virginia Roberts Giuffre had for years publicly accused the former prince of sexually abusing her when she was 17, which he denied. Her family reacted to the arrest.
A piece of justice that Virginia has been fighting for this entire time.
Investigations underway here in the U.S. with former President and Secretary of State Bill and Hillary Clinton now set to be deposed next week before the House Oversight Committee after photos of the former president appeared in the Epstein files. The Clintons have not been accused of any wrongdoing. Billionaire Les Wexner appeared before the committee this week regarding his ties to Epstein. He denied knowing about Epstein's crimes and has not been charged.
I was conned by the world Olympic all-time con artist.
I think that is bogus.
Lawmakers promising to keep pushing for accountability. In other developments, officials in New Mexico launching a new investigation into what happened at Zorro Ranch, where Epstein is accused of trafficking and abusing girls and women. One Epstein survivor now set to be a lawmaker's guest for next week's State of the Union. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Today in Black History, the birthday of a pop icon who also is a groundbreaking billionaire entrepreneur. That's up next.
Welcome back, everyone. Here's the new rain status. Now, here's what we've seen over the last 3 hours. Here, I actually want to rewind this for you. This was a nice-looking line of storms. It was right about here. Here, I'll zoom in. That we actually had some severe thunderstorm warnings right in here. There's a few notches. There was a borderline tornado tag there, too, with a little bit of rotation. Then everything kind of started to fizzle out, and this is what typically happens. Hits the mountains, it starts to die out, and that's exactly what I think that you could see here in the short term. So here's a look at the near-term rain potential. I think that rain is going to be quickly kind of in and out this morning. So here is a look right around 9 o'clock, seeing a little disturbance there. So anyone go to the airport could have a wet runway briefly at that point. 11 a.m. is where we have the last-ditch effort of some showers. So it's really now until about 10 o'clock that I think we see most of the activity around the I-85 corridor. And then by the afternoon, temperatures in the mid to the upper 70s, and we're really going to warm up nicely. Now, by tomorrow morning, notice the rain. We have a little bit of rain really south of I-85. Most of the activity, by the way, is going to be well down towards the south because it's down here they actually have a chance for a little bit of severe weather, and then it's closer by the end of the afternoon heading into the evening that we have the worst of the storms, a little bit closer to Savannah, Georgia, and then up in the Hilton Head, and then that's going to pass. And then this is a developing low pressure system, and then what this is going to do is it's really going to start to turn on the jets once you get into, I would say, your Sunday morning to the Sunday afternoon further off towards the east. That is going to cause more of a development up here, as you can see, even a change over to snow. So this is kind of turning into more of a nor'easter classic setup, giving us some rain in the morning, but there's also going to be a chance for some snow up in the North Carolina mountains. This is going to give us some rain, but not really enough for us to be helpful with that drought. We broke yesterday officially here on WCNC Plus that our drought status didn't really get better. It actually got worse in some spots. So it got worse in North Carolina, I guess a little bit better technically looking at Mecklenburg County here, but only by a fraction of a percent. And then our 7-day forecast shows the big cool down behind all these rain chances, returning to the 40s and some freezing lows, and then eventually the 60s and 50s will complete next week, heading into the last weekend of February. It has flown by, right? Okay, let's get right over to Majestic. How are things rolling?
Good morning, everyone. Well, I want to give you an update that we do have wet roads now. You can see this live camera. This one's coming in from Boone, where it is going to be a little soggy out there at times. So make sure you're prepared for not only just wet conditions, but we also have some fog that's still lingering out there in the high country. But even as we're looking right along I-40 from Hickory to Statesville, those are the areas where it's been very, very foggy for us this morning. Still, as we're heading towards Charlotte, we're still following this crash here on I-77 northbound. That's where we do have stop and go traffic. It's going to be right there on Remount Road. That's exit 8, where it is going to be slow moving. You can see one of the cameras that's close by that.
All right, Majestic, thanks so much. Well, today in Black History, we are celebrating the birthday of Rihanna. She's turning 38. She's not only a global music icon, but also the first Black woman to build $2 billion companies with Fenty Beauty and Savage X Fenty. Her success has redefined beauty, fashion, and entrepreneurship, opening doors for representation across industries. Rihanna's legacy is a powerful reminder of what innovation, authenticity, and vision can achieve.
All right, live pictures right now over uptown to start off your Friday morning. Shaping up to be a nice one once those clouds move out. More details coming up right here on WCNC Plus.
Well, good morning, everyone. We have some active rain here in the North Carolina mountains. So Watauga, Avery, Ashe County, you can anticipate light to moderate rainfall. You actually have the best rain probably that we're going to have this morning, I would say over the next hour or so. And then eventually this line is going to race through the area, keeping it around over the next few to several hours. Here is a look at 8 o'clock. Should be in the foothills at this point. A few more breaks, slight chance for a rumble of thunder also in this, especially once we get that sun up for a couple of hours. And then it's really between about 10 and noon that we're pushing it out, and then we'll see some sunshine with high temperatures reaching the mid to the upper 70s to around 80 degrees. Our low this morning, 65. We're at 67. It feels amazing outside, so a record warm start and a record day right around 80 degrees. Here's a look at that 7-day forecast. The 60s, a slight chance for rain. Rain chances on Sunday, much colder on Monday and Tuesday. All right, Majestic, what do people need to know this morning?
It's getting a little busier now that we are heading towards that 7:30 time frame. We're following everything for you on WCNC Plus, but look at this. This is going to be one thing you need to know before you go. I-77 northbound does not look great. This is northbound at Woodlawn Road, exit 6A, where it is at a red. Stop and go traffic just to the north of it. Another one on I-77 out near Remount Road.
Happy Friday. Thanks for streaming live on WCNC Plus at 7:30. I'm Lisa Washington.
And I'm Ben Thompson. We start with a breaking news update in East Charlotte where CMPD has made an arrest in that deadly road rage shooting we've talked about. James Rothwell is facing a number of charges, including murder in connection to Thursday's homicide. He's set to face a judge this morning. Police say the violence started with an argument in a Food Lion parking lot that quickly escalated to gunfire. The victim later found dead at a nearby apartment complex. Right now, CMPD is continuing its investigation.
This morning, two MS-13 gang leaders now know their fate. Federal prosecutors say Freddie Baruca and Santos Mencia led the organization's subunit in North Carolina and several nearby states. Both men pleaded guilty to RICO conspiracy charges. Baruca also pleaded guilty to kidnapping a minor. He is set to spend 30 years in prison. Mencia was sentenced to 20 years. A controversial immigration bill is moving through the South Carolina State House, and it's drawing strong reaction from both sides.
WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards now live in York County this morning. Destiny, this is an issue that's been talked about for years here in North Carolina, now facing local sheriff's offices south of the state line.
That's right. This bill would require every South Carolina law enforcement agency that operates a jail to partner with ICE in what's called the 287G program. We know that in Chester County, in Lancaster County, and right here in York County, sheriff's offices there have all cooperated and opted in on this, but if the bill becomes law, then this will be a mandate statewide. Now, this is House Bill 4764. It advanced after a public hearing at the State House where advocates and community members shared strong opinions on both sides. The ACLU of South Carolina argues requiring local jails to work with ICE could damage trust between law enforcement and immigrant communities and make people less likely to report crimes. Supporters of the bill disagree, saying collaboration would improve safety and create consistency across the state. They argue it's more secure for ICE to take custody of someone inside a jail facility rather than trying to locate them after they're released.
It's a good idea to have a bill, to codify it into law, to spare law enforcement itself, but also, the constituents and the residencies of that state the whiplash of these constant pendulum swings where everything is left up to the executive branch.
I think the real interest here is letting local law enforcement remain trusted members of their community and having the federal government do their own work.
So ultimately, supporters maintain that this would provide more clear guidance for law enforcement, but opponents say this would lead to more unsolved crimes. Now, the bill right now is in subcommittee awaiting a vote, and lawmakers will decide whether it moves forward. Live in York County, I'm Destiny Richards, WCNC Charlotte.
Now to an update on a cold case in Huntersville. Police are offering up to $14,000 for information leading to an arrest and conviction. In February 2014, somebody shot and killed 19-year-old Peter Jordan outside the North Cross Apartments on Sanford Road. Witnesses say 3 to 4 men drove up in a black car, opened fire, and then sped away. No arrests have ever been made. If you have any information, you're asked to call North Mecklenburg Crime Stoppers.
Right now, the York County Sheriff's Office is asking for help to identify these suspects. Take a look. They say 3 men stole BB guns from the Bass Pro Shops in Fort Mill over the weekend. If you have any information on this case, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers.
Well, this morning, the owners of a longtime Christmas tree farm in York County say a proposed data center would put their business at risk. QTS is building the center, a 9-building campus set to go right up next door to the Penland Christmas tree farm. The company says the $1 billion investment will come straight back to the local economy, but the owners of the tree farm worry about the potential environmental impacts that could dry out their trees and eventually, they say, their business.
All that heat from that will have to go in the atmosphere, and how much will it dry up the available water?
There's a petition to stop the data center with nearly 1,000 signatures. However, Councilman William Bump Roddy has told us the money has already been flowing, and that means the plans are still on. The city of Monroe warning folks there of fake emails. Officials say scammers are impersonating the city planning department and demanding residents send wire payments. In several cases, the fraudulent messages used official city branding and reference active applications. It's an important reminder. The city of Monroe says it will never ask for payment by wire transfer via email. City officials now working with law enforcement to prevent future scams.
All right, 7:35. Now let's check back in with Chris for our weather impact forecast. Some of us could see some rain today.
Yeah, no, active rain right now in the North Carolina mountains. So it's especially in Watauga County that we are now seeing some wet roads over along the Tennessee border as well. So that widespread rain eventually is going to have some breaks in it, but we're definitely seeing some impacts there. Nothing too major, and there's still a chance for a rumble of thunder overall. And then here is what it looks like over around the Banner Elk area. Actually, that camera just died out on me. But yeah, no, wet roads just in general across the area. And eventually we're going to be seeing this rain that works its way a little bit closer to the Charlotte area. It should be quickly in and out, not really impacting us too much here in the Charlotte area. I think it's just a little bit of light rain here. Let's see if we can show you this camera. There we go. This is right here around Blowing Rock. Also have a little bit of fog as well, so not really a pleasant start to the day. Kannapolis is ready. We have this active tarp out here at Cannonballer Stadium. And then elsewhere, you're just dealing with some really low-hanging clouds. They're racing by, though. It's also going to be a breezy one as well. And then here comes the rain. Record warm start as well. We dropped down to 65 degrees. We will get cooler than that. So the official low temperature won't be hit until really the 11 o'clock hour, but it will be above that 59. So this is back-to-back days that we've had a record warm low, and it'll be back-to-back days that we're going to have a record high. high. Here is our dog of the day. This is Gus. Now, the first picture I received was actually back in the snow. So Gus hanging out with his snow friend. Also, Beth is a teacher, so Gus loves to help out there. And also, happy anniversary to Beth's parents, 66 years. That's amazing. On and off rain is going to be a possibility really from about 8 to 11 o'clock for the Charlotte area. After that, we're drying out with some sunshine, mid to the upper 70s. It's going to be great. By the way, it's every day on WCNC Charlotte, so on TV, that I'm going to feature your dog, your pet. Yesterday, I actually featured a horse. Just scan this QR code. It brings you right to my Facebook page. I also like to re-air it here on WCNC Plus as well. So comparing the models, letting you know that we're going to have some passing rain this morning, but it's multiple rounds of rain that we're potentially going to see in the near term. But it's really sporadic. So you have that one little round that moves through, sunshine for the afternoon. Tomorrow morning, you're seeing a little bit of rain, but it's mainly down towards the south. Seeing that little passing shower here just south of Chesterfield County heading into the early afternoon. Seeing some sunshine, and then by your Sunday morning, look at this rain. We're seeing that push through, but then some of the long-range models are showing a lot more activity here. I'll show you this one. This one actually shows a lot more of aggressive Saturday morning, and then it also shows one system that lingers a little bit longer on Sunday. So I'm still thinking that most of the activity is going to trend down towards the south. Here, I'll show you one more example before I let you go. There is indications that most of the thunderstorm activity, I think, is going to be further down to the south. That's one thing as meteorologists, we're able to say, hey, I believe this one, but I don't believe that one. This is where most of the jazz is going to be, down towards the south. Our 7-day forecast showing that we are going to cool down behind regardless how much rain that we see either on Saturday or Sunday morning. The lower 50s on Sunday, the 40s Monday and Tuesday with freezing starts, and then after that, more back to the typical end of February weather, but gotta love that 80-degree high. Not too often we get to do this. All right, let's see what's happening out of the norm here for our morning commute with Majestic.
Good morning, everyone. It's been pretty quiet so far this morning. Just a little wet out there up in the high country. We'll be watching for that. Meanwhile, right here in Charlotte, we're following multiple accidents along I-77 southbound this time. This is just after West Boulevard. This is something to definitely keep in mind. I'm noticing more orange right here, indicating that cars are moving rather slowly. This second crash, again, I-77, however, this time heading northbound between exits 5 and 8. That's where we do have the biggest slowdown. And then the third crash on I-77, Woodlawn Road, that's exit 6A. This one happening not too long ago, and that one again is on our northbound lane. So right now, I'm following 3 accidents on I-77. Meanwhile, South Boulevard northbound lanes being impacted right there at I-485. And then the last thing is going to be right below 485. It's Providence Road. The outbound lanes being impacted because of this recent crash as you're approaching Argery Kell Road. Guys.
Coming up, South Carolina weighing a major change that could shake up how college sports handle money. We'll explain what's driving the debate. Continuing coverage right now here on WCNC Plus of the Winter Games after a thrilling night for Team USA, adding multiple gold medals.
Anne-Marie Tiernan joining us live once again from Milan. And Anne-Marie, the U.S. women's hockey team, let's talk about them for a minute. They won gold, beating the arch rival Canada in overtime.
It was stunning. And I think what made it just that much more of a big celebration at the end was that really throughout the game, the athletes and maybe even the fans, definitely the fans, this fan for sure, felt like the gold was slipping away because it wasn't until the last 2 minutes. I mean, Team USA was trailing the whole time. This is not a scenario, if you've been watching this team, that you've experienced before. They had only given up 1 goal before that, the whole Olympics, and here they were the last 2 minutes. Hillary Knight coming through with the goal that ties the game. Going into overtime, Team USA wins. But Canada, you know, think about those athletes like, we're going to upset. We're leading, we're holding them off. Team USA like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it's come down to this and we're gonna lose it. But at the end, I had friends that were at the arena and they just said it was electric. The place went crazy. And now Team USA hockey stars are going around and doing interviews. You'll see them on national TV shows and they're talking to their local markets and how they now are the team that delivered the 3rd gold medal for Team USA in women's hockey. Just really exciting. What a great story. So many star players, really a team effort. They seem to solidify and come together to accomplish this goal.
The other star player of last night, Team USA's Alyssa Liu, grabbing the gold for Team USA after what was a close competition, and her first go around wasn't her best, but she redeemed herself.
Well, she really did. I mean, she came out in that free skate and she got the best score. As a matter of fact, Amber Glenn got the 3rd best score, but Amber Glenn was just at such a deficit that even though she moved up so many spots, she finished in 5th. I talked to Amber Glenn this morning and I said, what is it that you're most proud of your time here skating on the ice? And she said, my resilience, my perseverance to be able to pick up and come back and deliver a really great program. She was really proud of that. And Alyssa Liu was just proud. I talked with her and said, you know, what was it about this experience? And she said, you know what? I took a break and I came back and I wanted to do it my way. And that was a way to lead with joy. So it wasn't about getting a place on the podium and it wasn't about beating the Japanese. It wasn't about whether the medal, if there was a medal at all, was going to be gold, silver, or bronze. It was just going out there and doing what I love to do, which is skate. And when she executed in that way, in her way, it proved to be golden. So I'm gonna really be happy for her. And I think it's a lesson for all of us to kind of watch about what works.
For sure. And she wore gold. I feel like she just kind of knew she was going to get it.
Anne-Marie, this is our last question with you. So I want to ask for some perspective. You've covered a bunch of these games over the years, I know, going back some 20 years. In your mind, you know, 20 years from now, how will the Milan Games stick out to you?
I think it will just stick out in that they did it a very unique way and that it was very spread out. It was all these little venues. It was, you know, Borneo and Cortina and Livigno and Milan. And the viewers and the athletes and the fans got to see all these little different places. It wasn't just like, oh, we're going to plop down in Beijing and everything will be there. And so I think seeing the countryside and seeing the villages and seeing the city and everything made these Olympics be different from any other that I've covered since 2008.
Well, Anne-Marie, we certainly appreciate all of your coverage. It's been a pleasure to have you with us, giving us some insight, perspective from these games. It's been a true joy.
Yeah, I guess we'll see you in 2 years in LA for the Summer Games.
Let's do it.
All right,
sounds good.
Anne-Marie, thanks as always. Have a safe trip back. All right, 7:26 right now on WCNC Plus. 2 weasels named Tina and Milo are the official mascots of the Winter Games in Milan. We're calling them measles. They're officially called a stoat.
Stoats,
but
yes.
They're very similar to weasels.
So if you're wondering what they look like in real life, take a look at this. This is Millie and Noob Noob at the Alaska Zoo in Anchorage, just moving around there. They're cute, right? But here's the thing. They are predators with deadly incisors. They eat rodents and other animals they catch. They can even take down a rabbit, and they look so small. But they will make an exception to their carnivore ways for one of their favorite snacks. You see it there, whipped cream.
Same.
All right, let's talk about the NBA now because they are looking at some new ways to discourage teams from tanking starting next season. The commissioner, Adam Silver, recently discussed several possible changes with general managers, though nothing has been finalized just yet. The ideas under consideration include adjusting how the draft lottery odds are set to discourage late season losing. The issue has gained some attention after several teams were fined for sitting healthy players. League officials are expected to revisit that topic at an upcoming Board of Governors meeting.
South Carolina lawmakers are considering a bill that would keep payments to college athletes and athletic teams secret. Supporters say the change is needed to keep schools competitive, arguing that public information could help other programs lure players away. Opponents worry the lack of transparency could hide major gaps in how money is distributed across sports. Lawmakers plan to gather more information from athletic directors before taking a final vote. We're back after this right here on WCNC Plus.
Welcome back, everyone. So some rain is now actively falling right here in the North Carolina mountains. Last time we checked, you could see this, but the winds are really whipping and howling. So I really want to talk about the winds going forward. Today, we're not going to necessarily have severe thunderstorms, but we could still have some strong wind gusts associated with this line, because this line does have a history of some severe thunderstorm warnings where there were some gusts up and over 50 miles per hour. But notice where the winds are going to be initially for this morning. It's out of the southwest, gusting up to 15 to 30 miles per hour as that front is rolling through. So after that, winds will calm down a little bit. We're still going to see some constant gusts getting up to about that 20 to 25 mile per hour range. The only thing about today is winds start to shift from the southwest to the north and west-northwest. And that's going to allow for some slightly cooler air to work its way in, but since we're starting off so warm, that's definitely going to help us try to get into the upper 70s, and that's why it's still going to be a record-breaking day, especially with that sunshine. So enjoy the warmth while we have it, but you can already start to see where the winds are shifting out of the west, how it is a little bit cooler further off towards the north and west, but still going to be an absolutely delightful one. Outside of today, we are not going to be dealing with any record-breaking temperatures. Today is the only one, 80 degrees, but at least we had back-to-back days that were of this nature, so good news. Now let's talk about the long term. So over the next 10 days, we are likely going to see some significant drops, but things will eventually come back to normal, which, by the way, the normal high is now up to 58 degrees for this day in climatology, and we end the month with an average high of around 60 degrees. So our high temperatures today stands out from all the rest. Look at this temperature swing. You don't need to be a math major to know that our temperature gets nearly cut in half for our highs of 80 down to about 42 on Monday. I think some of us will reach the mid-40s. Power of the sunshine will help us out there. Then we're back to the lower 60s to the upper 70s, which is literally a temperature range that we should have to end the month of February. And then heading into the first day of March, it looks like we could be back to around 70 degrees. So the questions that some people might be asking, is winter over? I can't say that because before, even here in Charlotte, I said, oh yeah, we're good. No big cool downs. There's always a surprise freeze in late March and sometimes in April that could affect the growing season, and sometimes it can happen as late as a frost in early May. So we can never say that it's officially over, but we will say that our cool downs are going to be shorter and shorter lived going forward. We're only dropping down to the mid to the upper 20s. That's still a stark difference from starting off at 65 this morning, over 30-degree swing there, but at least we're getting back to the normal. So yes, even though winter is still very much here, well, those warmer temperatures definitely look like they're here to stay in the short term. All right, Majestic, what do we need to know to end the 7 o'clock hour?
It is really busy. I-77, if you're heading northbound, take a look at your screen. This is what you will be sitting in. We have multiple wrecks on I-77, mostly northbound lanes. This is out towards mile marker 6, really Remount, Clanton area. That's where we do have cars that are moving, but they're not moving very fast because of that ongoing problem. Handful of accidents, again, multiple on I-77. The first one here, this one's actually coming in southbound just after West Boulevard. You can see the orange there, meaning we do have delays. And then this one is really causing some backups. It's I-77 northbound, Remount Road, backed up to about Tyvola. That's exit 5, so about 3 miles there. And then Woodlawn, I-77 northbound again, an additional crash. So bottom line, if you're taking I-77 northbound, we have multiple ongoing wrecks at this point. This is a newer crash as well. It's not on I-77, but it's really close to it. Archdale Drive at Nations Ford Road, where we have some minor delays building. And this one here at I-485 and South Boulevard, a crash that has not been cleared quite yet. Guys.
Majestic, thanks. On this day back in 1962, a major milestone in the space race. Aboard the Friendship 7 space capsule, Lieutenant Colonel of the U.S. Marine Corps and astronaut John Glenn became the first American to orbit the globe. He circled Earth 3 times in just under 5 hours. An estimated 4 million people turned out for a parade held in his honor shortly after he landed.
All right, 7:54 now. We need to take a quick break, but make sure that you keep streaming live right here on WCNC+.
All right, here it is. The rain is upon us. And check it out. We do have this little cell right here. I'm not seeing any thunder with it yet, but there's a chance we could have a rumble of thunder along this line. Widespread rain, wet roads up in the mountains, now pushing into the foothills. So Morganton, Lenore, naming a few up and around Hickory. Within the hour, you're going to be seeing some passing showers, and they could be heavy. That little cell, though, I think is going to start to fade out, though, and we'll see some redeveloping ones along this line. So a chance for an on-off shower and even a thunderstorm now until about 11 o'clock. And then by the afternoon, we're clearing things out for a little bit more sunshine. Today's highs right around 80 degrees. That's right, just with some darker and cloudier skies, getting brighter later on in the afternoon. Current temperatures right now up to 68 degrees, so what a start. Enjoy this 80-degree high that we have today. Coming up, we'll have a little bit more on that extended forecast, but first, let's get right over to Majestic for our morning commute.
Good morning, everyone. An accident, multiple of them on I-77. This is mile marker 6 to 7, so right around Clanton. You can see those northbound lanes. I mean, they're moving, but they're moving very, very slowly. You can see my map. It is filled with ongoing wrecks. I'm following everything for you on WCNC. Plus, we have a crash coming in from the north, so that will be impacting southbound lanes, but really those northbound lanes will be the biggest deal.
Streaming live right now at 8 a.m. on a Friday morning here on WCNC Plus. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Lisa Washington.
We start with a breaking news update in East Charlotte, where CMPD has made an arrest in a deadly road rage shooting. James Rothwell, facing multiple charges, including murder in connection to Thursday's homicide. He's set to face a judge later this morning. Police say the violence started with an argument in a Food Lion parking lot that quickly escalated to gunfire. The victim later found dead nearby in an apartment complex. We spoke to a man who frequently shops in the area, and he said he has never seen anything like this before.
It's sad because, like I said, everybody has disagreements, but it shouldn't result in somebody getting killed. And I don't know what needs to be done or could be done, but people, or you can't even look at people. You look at people wrong. If you say something wrong, everybody will result to violence.
An investigation is ongoing.
This morning, a woman remains in jail accused of hitting a man with her car. It happened in a parking lot just off East Independence Boulevard in Matthews. Police say 28-year-old Anna Lippincott hit the man after a domestic dispute. She's charged with assault with a deadly weapon with intent to kill. The man was airlifted to the hospital with serious injuries. At last check, he was listed as medically stable. Right now, a wanted fugitive in Gastonia is behind bars. Gastonia police tell us U.S. Marshals arrested 40-year-old Otis Hunter Thursday. Hunter was wanted for several charges, including discharge of a weapon into an occupied property and 4 counts of domestic assault.
After more than 3 decades, police have cracked a cold case that's baffled them for years. The brutal murder of a young mother inside her Cotswold home. WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane live outside CMPD headquarters this morning. And Richard, the man actually under arrest is one that's been connected to the case from the very start. So what led to this break?
Looking at old evidence in a new way, so to speak, DNA evidence. Good morning to you, Ben. Good morning, Lisa. Good Friday morning, everybody. As you said, this case has been around for 35 years. CMPD's been investigating it that long, and a person that they first thought was a person of interest, someone who had worked in that home, actually now is the main suspect. This person, take a look at your screens. Marion Gales, long considered a person of interest, who had worked around that neighborhood where the incident happened, was taken into custody yesterday. He had been released from prison just last March on an unrelated crime. Now, investigators say advances in DNA technology allowed forensic experts to re-examine evidence collected from Thomas's home. That's Kim Thomas on Churchill Road in the Cotswold neighborhood. The updated testing linked Gales to DNA found at the scene. Kim Thomas was discovered dead in July 1990, handcuffed with her throat slashed multiple times. Her baby just in a crib a short distance away, unhurt. Thomas' husband, Dr. Edward Friedland, was once considered the primary suspect, but charges were later dropped against him, although he did win a successfully sued a case for wrongful death, but Gales was never charged by police. Gales previously pleaded guilty to a manslaughter case in 2009. It involved the death of a woman. Authorities say the renewed forensic work ultimately led to the new murder charge for Kim Thomas's killing.
It becomes incorporated into our investigative processes. We go back and revisit cases that remain open to determine whether information that's been previously collected may be reevaluated, retested, or reanalyzed to give us new leads or to verify information that we had, theories that remain unproven. And in this case, it was just that type of technological advancement that allowed our crime laboratory to take evidence that was previously collected, reevaluate it, and bring clarity to that evidence.
Now, it's important to note that Dr. Friedland's attorney, David Rudolph, had asked police to do this some time ago. We can tell you that Marion Gales is expected in court for his first appearance on this murder charge later today, this morning, I should say, in just a few hours. Of course, we'll have a complete update on all of our platforms, including in our mobile app. We're outside CMPD headquarters. Richard Devane, we'll send it back to you.
Richard, thanks. Right now, a courthouse fight has left one man in the hospital and a grieving father in custody. Police say the father of Jamari Dixon, the teen killed in a North Charlotte shooting last year, went after the man who was accused of murdering his son, Marion McKnight. This is some video from that crime scene last May. A victims' rights group says the father reached a breaking point after months of what they call taunting and intimidation from McKnight. They are demanding county and court leaders do more to protect families who come to court seeking justice. McKnight is recovering in a hospital. Dixon's father is now facing charges.
This morning, we are hearing from Hornet star LaMelo Ball just days after this head-on crash in Uptown sent one person to the hospital. Ball was not injured and was on the floor last night against the Rockets. He spoke about the accident after the game.
Fortunately, just everybody cool, so just blessings. God is great.
Can you put into words the last 24 hours with you, how it's been emotional for you to have to deal with that and then come here and play a game tonight on top of that?
I'm just alive, blessed for him. So God is great, like I said.
CMPD continues its investigation. LaMelo and the Hornets back on the court tonight against Cleveland.
All right, 8:06, let's check back in with Chris now for an update on the showers many of us are going to see.
Yeah, check it out. We have active rain, and I'm really looking at some of this rain that's now pushing into Morganton. And right now, not really seeing any lightning associated with this, but boy, are we seeing some heavier downpours. So we have some fun tools that we can use here that kind of shows like the general estimates, and it's showing over an inch of rain per hour. So right around Linville, you were looking at a downpour. So likely this is going to be some of the heaviest rain they are going to encounter in the near term, and eventually it's going to push this way a little bit closer over to Morganton. Looking at a different look of our satellite and radar, that really just shows how substantial that rain is across the area. And this is all associated with a front that's pushing in closer and closer. Eventually that front is going to shift the winds, but boy, are we nice and warm to start off the day. So here's how that looks in the short term. We're seeing some rain that starts to really push into the Charlotte area, I think between about 9 to about 11 o'clock. So things have gotten delayed compared to what we were looking at. So this was showing 8 o'clock that this is what it would look like. It's a little bit ahead of itself. So we can really just call that right around the 10 o'clock hour that if you look a little bit closer, you're seeing a little cell pretty close to what we just saw up around the Burke County and Linville area. So there's a chance that we could have some isolated downpours for the mid to late morning going forward. And then once you get to the early afternoon, we're good to go. Temperatures likely are going to be in the mid to the upper 70s. We're going to have a westerly wind at that point, so technically it is starting to get a little bit cooler. We're really starting to see the impacts up in Boone. That's where you're seeing 58 degrees, and then we'll see the clouds roll back in for another chance for rain. Now, the rain that we see on Saturday is primarily going to be down here. Look at these mean line of showers that develop right here in central Georgia, pushing south of Columbia for your Saturday. That's where we're going to have that severe threat. So we will have another chance for rain heading into your Sunday, and then after that we have a developing low pressure system that eventually is going to allow for some snow for you up in the high country, especially late on your Sunday. But check out this. This is a beast of a nor'easter that develops just off the shoreline. What's interesting about this setup is just depending on where it's going to be. If it's a little bit closer to the United States and say New Jersey, it's going to be a bigger snow deal, but still some snow in New York, over through Trenton, New Jersey, Washington, D.C. is going to see this as well to end your Sunday heading into your Monday morning. As far as the near term for us, we're talking about records, y'all. You can already see some of those darker clouds off in the distance. So yeah, we do have a chance for rain again. 80 degrees today, that is a record. The record for today is 77. It's also going to be a windy one on and off throughout today. And then it's also a record warm start. We are in the mid to the upper 60s. So that's a perfect environment to have some passing storms. Again, storm potential really taking a big step back for your Saturday. That means it might be just breezy for the Ascent game if that's where you're going, right at 2 o'clock. On Sunday, morning rain possible, maybe a little bit of sunshine, but temperatures are actively cooling down through the afternoon. That sets us up for our cool down, starting freezing on Monday and Tuesday morning, and then we have the 60s to the upper 50s to end February. Man, this month has flown right by. Well, it is the shortest as well. Okay, let's get right over to Majestic. How are things starting the 8 o'clock hour with?
And not looking good. I-77 is actually kind of looking terrible. We have multiple ongoing wrecks right on I-77, so let's take you straight there. This one here, we have I-77 southbound at West Boulevard, so you can see this orange that's starting to build. So it doesn't really matter if you're heading southbound or northbound, you're going to have some issues. This one here is probably the most problematic thing. I-77, this is northbound, Remount Road, exit 8. But notice as I zoom it on out, we have such a stretch of stop and go traffic on I-77 northbound between that crash and then this one right here. Again, the third crash on I-77 right now, still very active. This time just happening at Woodlawn Road, that's exit 6A. So I-77 inbound looks really, really bad. I mean, just very slow moving at this point. Then just to the east, two back-to-back crashes very close to one another. This one here, South Boulevard at Archdale Drive, and then this one currently to the left, that's still Old Pineville Road there at Archdale Drive. So two back-to-back, Archdale Drive starting to get busy and not in the best of way.
Majestic things. Today we are remembering someone whose work touched millions on and off the screen. His legacy just ahead.
Charlotte known for growth and opportunity, but not everybody has the same access to it. For Charlotte's Black community, health disparities remain a daily reality, showing up in higher rates of chronic illness, limited access to care, and outcomes tied closely to your zip code.
WCNC Charlotte's Autumn Bracey spoke with local leaders who say they are seeking solutions to close those gaps.
County Health Rankings and Roadmaps, a program of the University of Wisconsin Population Health Institute, places Mecklenburg County among the healthiest communities in North Carolina and across the nation. But beneath those positive rankings, health leaders say deep disparities remain, especially when health outcomes are broken down by race. From maternal and child health to chronic disease, Black Charlotteans continue to face disproportionate health challenges.
Bias, discrimination, overt racism is not, the hospital's system is not excluded from that.
Dr. Janisha Brown says her work is deeply personal. After having a heart attack following the birth of her second son and being misdiagnosed in the emergency room, she knew something had to change.
For my case, I presented for chest pain. And I had very classic symptoms of a heart attack.
That experience led her to create WeBe, the Women's Empowerment and Birth Equity Institute. The organization focuses on identifying health disparities impacting Black women and finding real solutions. Dr. Brown says education is a big part of the work, but she says holding healthcare providers accountable is critical for progress.
Having an alert in the system saying, hey, this patient has all these, symptoms, and they're also, reporting this out of their mouth. Have you checked on, the most concerning things?
The Mecklenburg County Public Health Department is also taking aim at health disparities. Interim Health Director Kimberly Scott says where you live matters. Explaining socioeconomic factors, including your zip code, can directly affect your health and quality of life.
When we think about maternal and child health, 28208 is one zip code where we've seen disparities in infant mortality.
CDC data shows Black women are 3 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related causes than white women.
African Americans have a higher pain tolerance, or that we are dramatic, maybe kind of fabricating what we are experiencing. I think I hear too often how, one of my patients went to another doctor and it took 4 visits before they were actually offered an ultrasound.
Co-founders of FemWell Gynecology and Wellness, Tiffany Bates and Nikki Parsons, say they're using their practice to create change firsthand.
The patients are seeing actual changes in their weight, their bleeding, their overall mental health.
Back at the county level, Scott says her agency is continuing to take action to address these alarming rates as well. One approach includes using its fleet of mobile health units to bring testing and resources directly to communities facing barriers, while also partnering with local organizations.
We've invested in supporting community health workers and health educators, so trusted messengers who are reflective of the community served, to make sure that we have culturally appropriate messaging and information to support people's needs in navigating what can be a challenging system.
Mecklenburg County conducts a community health assessment every 3 years to better understand residents' health needs and identify gaps in policies and programs. The latest report is set to be released at the end of March. In Charlotte, Autumn Bracey, WCNC Charlotte.
According to a spokesperson for the Department of Health and Human Services, an independent vaccine advisory committee to the CDC will no longer meet next week. That panel was scheduled to meet from February 25th through the 27th, but the decision to cancel was made on HHS guidance. The cancellation comes nearly a month after several medical groups sued the CDC over its new childhood vaccine recommendations. It's still not clear whether that lawsuit played any role in the decision to call off the meeting. The Department of Veterans Affairs has walked back an interim rule affecting disabled veterans. That proposal would have changed how monthly disability payments were calculated by measuring how well a veteran functioned on medication rather than the impairment itself. The rule drew strong backlash from veterans who feared it would lead to reduced payments. Judges ultimately ruled that the VA could not lower disability ratings based on the effects of medication.
8:17 right now on WCNC Plus Hollywood, mourning the loss of actor Eric Dane. In a statement, his publicist says he died Thursday following a battle with ALS. He was just 53 years old. Best known for his role in Grey's Anatomy and Euphoria. His death comes less than a year after he was first diagnosed with ALS. He proceeded to put his efforts into advocating for those who have progressive neurodegenerative disease. Dane survived by his wife, Rebecca Gayhart, an actress, and their 2 daughters. Approaching 8:18 right now. Today in Black History, we're remembering a powerful figure whose impact still shapes our world.
Well, good morning, everyone. Let's get a look at what's going on across the area of roadways. If you're heading out the door anytime soon, it's been a busy start to the day. We have some rain showers out there in the high country, impacting perhaps your early morning commute. Otherwise, I-77 is really busy. Southbound lanes just after West Boulevard, still seeing that slowdown. We're seeing that orange actually increasing, meaning that, yes, traffic is a problem, whether you're coming in northbound or southbound. This one here has been the biggest concern. Northbound lanes at Remount Road, that's exit 8. We're seeing those delays all the way through Tyvola. But once we zoom it out, you can see that perspective there, that stop and go traffic. We did have an additional crash right here, I-77 at Woodlawn. It was just cleared. However, I'm still seeing some significant delays at red, meaning stop and go, and that takes us out to exit 6. Out towards Archdale Drive, South Boulevard, it's been very slow going because of 2 ongoing wrecks. And then Steel Creek Road inbound at Dixie River Road. That's one of our newer ones. It's near I-485 where we do have that yellow starting to build. Another one on Steel Creek Road, not too far from it. It's at Sam Neely Road. That's one of our newer crashes to be mindful of. So again, a lot going on this morning. We're going to have another check on those roads all coming up here soon. Chris?
All right, here we are. That rain is now quickly pushing through. It is already over Lenore right now around Morganton, so you can see some of those heavier cells. But if you look back, not too long ago, it was a lot more aggressive. So it still does show that this is a lot of signs of weakening. I think we're going to have a lot of those breaks that are going to be here in between as well. So let's go through it. Here's the time frame that we're anticipating the rain. So right now it is 8:22, so it means approaching the 10 o'clock hour. That's where I think we're really going to see most of the activity here in the Charlotte area. So let's go between about about 9 and 10. Could have some pulses of some heavier rain. What you see here is a little bit of weakening, and then it starts to strengthen again by the back end of the morning. The main reason why is just because we're starting to see a little extra instability at the point, and then things are really starting to warm up. Once the rain clears by about the 11 to noon hour, and that's for areas further off towards the east, I think it's really a little bit closer to 10 to 10:30 that most of the rain will be clear of the 485 loop. That's where things are going to be warming up nicely, and we keep on talking about those records. The one thing to know about today could be the 19th time in Charlotte history during the month of February that we are going to have an 80-degree high. So here's that stat. We've hit 80 degrees officially 13 times, and 2 of those were last year. We did that twice in February. We twice have been at 81 and 3 times at 82. So we would join some unique company if that was going to be the case in scenario. And also this morning, we only dropped down to 65 degrees. The previous record low was 59 degrees, and the record warm low, by the way. And we will get a little bit cooler, so 65 is not official, but then 62 by about 11 p.m. So going forward, check out our long-term forecast. This is the top. 80 degrees. We have 65, 52, and then 42. That is a significant drop of 35 to 40 degrees from high to high across a 3 to 4 day period. Now, this bottom is short-lived. During the wintertime, when you have these big cool downs, they can sometimes last for weeks. Here this time of year, they usually most last about 2 to 3 days. Then we're right back to either side of where we should be. As far as our lows go, we will be calling some freezing lows. So many people have been asking, is winter over? I think the worst of winter is over. I'll say that, and I'll get my weather PR agent come help me out if this changes. But we will have a chance of revisiting the freezing point on and off really for the better part of the next 2 months. That always happens. As far as our next rain chance, after what we'll see the next 3 days, we'll see another second coming on Thursday heading into Friday.
Today in Black History marks the anniversary of the passing of Frederick Douglass, one of the most influential voices in the fight against slavery and injustice. Born into slavery, he escaped and went on to become a powerful writer, speaker, and abolitionist whose words helped shift the nation's conscience. Douglass's work pushed the country toward equality and laid the groundwork for future civil rights movements. Today, 131 years later, his legacy continues to shape the ongoing pursuit of justice and freedom.
8:24 right now, live pictures over Uptown as you get ready for the weekend. Keep it right here on WCNC Plus.
Happy Friday, everyone. A record warm start, a chance of a thunderstorm, and then a high near 80. What a day, right? So here's the active rain. The heaviest rain right now is through Morganton up into Lenoir, and this is quickly pushing its way further off towards the east. So it's over the next 2 hours. It's going to be impacting the Charlotte area. Winds are picking up as well, so we could have some wind gusts up to 30 to 35 associated with this, but a crank up to high of an 80-degree point. That's amazing. All we have to do is pass 77, and it's a record day. I think we're going to see that with a lot of sun sunshine trying to fight its way through the clouds later on this afternoon before more clouds roll back in. Slight chance for rain for your Saturday morning. We do that again on Sunday. Each day getting colder. Freezing starts Monday and Tuesday with highs only in the 40s before we're back to normal Wednesday, Thursday. All right, Majestic, what's going on this morning?
Good morning, everyone. Look at how wet these roads are. This takes you up to Blowing Rock, where we even have some ponding out on those roads. So take it easy if you're heading out. Maybe you're heading up to the mountains for the weekend. Meanwhile, a little closer to Charlotte, we have our own set of concerns. I'm following all these for you on WCNC Plus, but this is on I-77 southbound, just after West Boulevard. That's where we do have an active crash at exit 9A. An additional one right here. It's blocking the shoulder lane. However, traffic's moving quite slowly right around it. That's out towards exit 8 at Remount Road.
Thanks for streaming live on WCNC Plus at 8:30. I'm Lisa Washington.
And I'm Ben Thompson. We continue to follow that breaking news update in East Charlotte, where CMPD has made an arrest in a deadly road rage shooting. James Rothwell is facing multiple charges, including murder in connection to Thursday's homicide. He's set to face a judge this morning. Police say the violence started with an argument at the Food Lion parking lot there in East Charlotte, quickly escalating to gunfire. The victim later found at a nearby apartment complex. CMPD continues its investigation this morning. Another breaking update: the man accused of a deadly shooting in North Charlotte set to face a judge. Mackay Randall, charged with murder in the February 9th killing of Michael Alexander on David Cox Road. He also faces armed robbery, kidnapping, conspiracy, and attempted robbery charges. Randall is scheduled to appear in Mecklenburg County Court today in about 90 minutes.
This morning, two MS-13 gang leaders now know their fate. Federal prosecutors say Freddie Baruca and Santos Mencia led the organization's subunit in North Carolina and several nearby states. Both men pleaded guilty to RICO conspiracy charges. Baruca also pleaded guilty to kidnapping a minor. He is set to spend 30 years in prison. Mencia was sentenced to 20 years. A controversial immigration bill is moving through the South Carolina State House, and it's drawing strong reaction from both sides of the aisle.
WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards now live in York County this morning. And Destiny, this is an issue that's already been talked about for years here in North Carolina, now facing local sheriff's offices south of the state line.
That's right. This bill would require South Carolina law enforcement agencies that operate a jail to partner with ICE through the 287G program. Sheriff's offices in Chester, Lancaster, and right here in York County have all opted in. But if this bill passes, if it becomes law, then that cooperation with ICE becomes mandatory statewide. Now, this is House Bill 4764. It advanced after a public hearing at the State House where advocates and community members shared strong opinions on both sides. The ACLU of South Carolina argues requiring local jails to work with ICE could damage trust between law enforcement and immigrant communities and make people less likely to report crimes. Supporters of the bill disagree, saying collaboration would improve safety and create consistency across the state. They argue it's more secure for ICE to take custody of someone inside a jail facility rather than trying to locate them after they're released.
It's a good idea to have a bill, to codify it into law, to spare law enforcement itself, but also, the constituents and the residencies of that state the whiplash of these constant pendulum swings where everything is left up to the executive branch.
I think the real interest here is letting local law enforcement remain trusted members of their community and having the federal government do their own work.
So supporters of the bill maintain this gives clear guidance to law enforcement, but opponents believe this will lead to more unsolved crimes. Right now, the bill is in subcommittee where it awaits a vote, and lawmakers will decide whether it moves forward. In York County, I'm Destiny Richards, WCNC Charlotte.
Destiny, thanks. Now to an update on a cold case in Huntersville. Police are offering up to $14,000 for information leading to an arrest and conviction. In February 2014, someone shot and killed 19-year-old Peter Jordan outside the North Cross Apartments on Sanford Road. Witnesses say 3 or 4 men drove up in a black car, opened fire, and then sped away. No arrests have ever been made. If you have any information, you're asked to call police.
Right now, the York County Sheriff's Office is asking for help to identify these suspects. Take a look at your screen. They say 3 men stole BB guns from the Bass Pro Shops in Fort Mill over the weekend. If you have any information on this case, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers.
This is one of the owners of a longtime Christmas tree farm in York County say a proposed data center could put their business at risk. QTS is building the center, a 9-building campus set to go up right next door at the Penland Christmas tree farm. The company says the $1 billion investment will come straight back to the local economy, but the owners of that tree farm worry about the potential environmental impacts that could dry out their trees and eventually their business.
All that heat from that will have to go in the atmosphere, and how much will it dry up the available water?
There's a petition to stop the data center with nearly 1,000 signatures. However, Councilman William Bump Roddy has told us the money has already been flowing, and that means the plans are still on. The city of Monroe warning folks of fake emails. Officials say that scammers are impersonating the city planning department and demanding residents send wire payments. In several cases, the fraudulent messages used official city branding and reference active applications. It's also important to remember the city of Monroe says it will never ask for payment by wire transfer via an email. City officials now working with law enforcement to prevent future scam attempts. 8:35 right now. Turning back to your weather impact forecast with Chris.
This is an amazing start to the day. 68 degrees, just wow. We're happy if highs reach this, and this is our starting point. Now, our technical low is going to be hit around 11 a.m., but it's still going to be a record warm low for this day in climatology, February 20th, if you still need to write checks. And then we are dealing with a clearing sky throughout, I would say, the early afternoon. So yesterday we had the same case and scenario. It was cloudy in the morning, and all of a sudden the golden rays started to arrive at some point in the afternoon. Same thing's going to happen today, and it's much cooler off towards the north. The one thing that's going to jeopardize our 80-degree point is that we are shifting the winds out of the west instead of the southwest by the afternoon. Now what that does is the southwest If we had that, I think we could actually be one of the warmest February highs of all time. But we're barely going to get to that 80-degree point just because of the westerly direction, which is still warm, but slightly on the cooler side. And we'll have some rain-cooled air initially, and then after that, we're off to the races. This line's moving fairly quickly at about 35 to 40 miles per hour, and we're going to have some pulses of some heavier rain. It just left Lenore. Some light rain is also possible behind this, but this is going to be the main pizzazz that we see along this line. So bringing up our measurement tool, this line has a bunch of breaks in it, but the arrival of the rain, even though it might be intermittent, some of us might have a quick downpour, others barely anything at all. Mooresville, you're expecting this really between about 9:30 and 10. Charlotte's really about 10:30 or 10 to 10:30 or so. Rock Hill, you're going to be in that similar time frame. Once you get a little bit closer to say around Tradesville, that's after the 11 o'clock hour, and then it's over in Raleigh by about noon. So it's going to be flying out of here. So it's mainly going to be over the next couple of hours to 3 that we can anticipate that rain. I think the last hurrah's chance of a thunderstorm too, so you could audibly hear some thunder to close out the morning. Then we have some clearing before some more rain can roll back in. It's also going to be windy. Check it out. We have on and off gusts. A little bit lighter for your Saturday, but Saturday I think still could have some breezy conditions up in the high country. But what a start, y'all. Temperatures hovering right around 65 degrees. That was our bottom. As I mentioned, we'll hit our absolute low around 11 o'clock, but that is a safe record all in all. Real quick, getting to our dog of the day. This is Gus, and I also want to give a shout out to Beth, the proud owner, and her parents. This is their 66th anniversary. That is incredible. Oh, that's awesome. Well, you're going to be dealing with maybe a little thunderous activity to start off the day, but then have plenty of sunshine for a near record day, or actually a record smashing day for the middle of the afternoon. So Gus, great to have you as my dog of the day, and great to have Beth and your family. Our 7-day forecast brought to you by the Jerry Hunt Super Center. 80 is the top by far. Enjoy the record-breaking temperatures. It's going to be amazing, almost hot for this time of year. 65 for your Saturday, and then eventually we're getting to the 40s and a mix of the 60s. All right, Majestic, take it away. And I know it's wet up in the mountains, but how's it looking here near Charlotte?
Not too bad. Definitely busy. We've had a lot of accidents. No rain showers, just kind of cloudy conditions. Dry roads right here. This is I-77 out near Langtree, so that's going to be well north of Uptown. Again, no big problems there, so hopefully we can keep it that way for a little while longer. It's been active as we've been looking at accidents across the area, especially on I-77. That's where at one time we had 4 ongoing wrecks, but let me show you what's going on right now as we switch it over to my map here. Mainly we have green conditions along 485, not seeing any big concerns there, but once you're heading south again, that's where we will have those concerns as you're heading right here on I-77. Southbound lanes, this is just after West Boulevard where we had that ongoing crash, and then this one here still not completely cleared. It's at exit 8 to exit 5 out near Remount Road. Something new this morning is an additional crash just happening about 10 minutes ago on Independence. It'll be those inbound lanes at Village Lake Drive that we know that there's an accident, but we don't see any delays, so at least we have that going. But another crash still on Independence right here, inbound lanes just after I-485. So take it easy as you're heading out the door on your Friday. We'll have another check on those roads coming up soon.
Dangerous fire conditions continue to hammer the Great Plains. The latest on the fast-moving wildfires next. Approaching 8:43 now, this is a look at some aerial footage of Nancy Guthrie's home in Tucson, Arizona, as the search for the 84-year-old enters its 20th day. Federal and local authorities say they are still chasing every lead, with the FBI reporting it's received more than 19,000 tips. DNA from a glove found 2 miles away did not match anything in the federal database, nor did it match the DNA that was collected on Guthrie's property. Investigators now turning to genetic genealogy, a method that has helped solve several high-profile cases. Rewards are being offered as the search for the mother of Today co-host Savannah Guthrie continues.
8:43 right now. High winds fanned the flames of fires burning the plains this week. At one point, more than 750,000 people in the region saw the highest level of extreme critical fire weather conditions. Reed Binion gives us a look.
The Great Plains got hit with dangerous fire weather conditions for a third consecutive day Thursday. Firefighters battling more than a dozen wildfires that have burned tens of thousands of acres and forced evacuations in the region. The largest of them is the Ranger Road megafire. It started Tuesday in Oklahoma, then spread into southern Kansas. Since then, it's burned an area nearly twice the size of Chicago. Another wildfire broke out in Woodward, Oklahoma, and destroyed structures. One home nearly consumed by the blaze saved after firefighters managed to stop the flames just inches from the structure. Since Tuesday, other blazes have broken out across the region as well, including 2 in the Texas Panhandle, the Lavender and 8 Ball fires. Weather conditions complicating the job of containing the flames.
The wind in our minds for any firefighter is the devil, and right now, again, the winds are high. We're expected to have high winds in the next couple days.
The Texas A&M Forest Service said that as of Thursday evening, the Lavender Fire had burned more than 18,300 acres. I'm Reed Binion reporting.
Meanwhile, an avalanche near Lake Tahoe has become a heartbreaking recovery mission, with 8 skiers now confirmed dead, 1 still missing. Slide hit Tuesday, trapping a group of 15 backcountry skiers and making rescue efforts extremely difficult because of dangerous weather. Crews eventually reached the site, finding 6 survivors who had built a makeshift shelter, while the others were later found dead. The region now mourning one of the deadliest avalanches in recent memory.
Wild Canada geese are turning up dead in large numbers across New Jersey. Officials say bird flu may be the cause. The state has received more than 1,100 reports of sick or dead birds in just the last few days, prompting the closure of at least 2 parks. Experts suspect an outbreak of the highly pathogenic avian influenza, that's bird flu, made worse by the recent cold weather and pushed the birds to gather more closely. Residents are being asked to report any sick or dead birds as the state braces for the possibility of surpassing last year's record high flu numbers. Well, something special is being celebrated today, and it's all about appreciating the companions who brighten our lives. Stay with us.
Hi, this is Larry Sprinkle. The weekend is here. The big question, what to do. Now, if you're from the area, you know all about it. If not, let's talk about Freedom Park, which was actually built in 1945. And this inscription right here, a lot of people miss that, but it's very important. It was built in honor of the veterans, those who gave their lives in World War II. And it says, of all who served so fearlessly and so gallantly, gave the laughter from their hearts, that others might play in a happy world. That's Freedom Park. It's at 1900 East Boulevard, Charlotte, not too far from uptown. It's 98 acres and a 7-acre lake, miles of paved trails. There's tennis courts, soccer fields, baseball fields, a huge playground, and an open-air music pavilion. Free admission and parking open daily dawn to dusk. Wheelchair and stroller friendly. Leash dogs are also allowed. They have paved trails that actually connect to Uptown and Park Road Shopping Center. Great spot to visit. Some of the sites you'll see over at Freedom Park. Great place to visit. Fantastic for the whole family. And check it out. Don't miss the locomotive. It's all at Freedom Park. That's what to do this weekend. I'm Larry Sprinkle.
And I have been to that locomotive with JT, and he absolutely loves it. So I highly recommend it to all parents anew and parents of old. And satellite and radar are still showing that line of showers. I'll continue to update on the timing. It's going to be cruising. Now, it's at an angle here. So, of course, the further north you are, you're going to receive it first compared to the angled areas like, say, in South Carolina. You'll be seeing it a little bit later. So that's why you're seeing such a big difference. That's why Matthew's seeing it really at the end of the 10 o'clock hour. Meanwhile, Durham could only see it within an hour after that. Raleigh just around noon. Meanwhile, a little bit closer to Charlotte. I think it's really anywhere between about 10 and 11, but right around the 10:30 half hour is where we're going to be seeing this. Shelby, this is pretty much already on your doorstep. So welcome to the warmest morning by far. This is incredible. Temperatures are in the upper 60s to around 70 degrees right now. That's where we're living. Once this rain clears, we're going to have a nice little window of clearing heading into the afternoon. So we're rocking the mid to the upper 70s. We're going to break a record. That's happening. The only question mark is, as long as those winds and clouds can behave, and the way I mean the winds, if the winds shift out of the northwest too early, that's going to keep us more in the upper 70s. But as long as everything lines up the way I'm seeing it, we're going to tap on that 80-degree point for only the 19th time in Charlotte history for the month of February. So we have 3 mornings and 3 rounds of rain. 1, it's happening right now. Number 2, very light heading into tomorrow. And then on Sunday, scatter rain is going to be a possibility. The only thing that changes in the forecast is we potentially could have that rain last a little bit longer for before sunrise to after, drying out still for the afternoon. But this is the coolest day. We're 51. It's actually closer to the high temperature for the day. That's why today is my favorite round of rain. Here's what we're starting off with. It is not going to be a delightful beginning to the day, but we already can see some of that rain cooled air off towards the northwest. It's been cooler around Hickory in general, but we have the upper 60s. So even when this cloud cover is going to clear, you can visibly see how fast it's moving. That eventually is going to lead to a nice little warm up, easily getting into the upper 70s as early as around 3 o'clock, seeing an ample amount of sunshine, kind of like what we saw yesterday as well. So for that Jerry Hunt Supercenter 7-day forecast, you can see that we do slip back down into the 40s. This is such a big difference by about 35 to 40 degrees from this afternoon to what we have on Monday afternoon. Also, as the kids are heading back to the bus stop on Monday and Tuesday, for the last Monday and Tuesday of February, 28 and 26 degrees is just mean, especially when you have a low right around 65. Now, we are going to start to return to normal. Things get a little bit better thereafter. Just everyone has to note that this is going to be a drastic and big cool down. Now, I want to talk about the weekend forecast in a little bit more detail now that we're here. So the weekend forecast is pointing towards a cool down. I mentioned that. But Saturday, even though it doesn't look like a big deal here, we are going to see a much better chance for some thunderstorms further off towards the south. So let me just show you this real quick. The further south that you go, that's where you're anticipating widespread storms down towards the south. So you can see down in South Carolina, you're going to be seeing a mean line also over in Georgia as well. Right in this circle is where you're seeing the worst of the weather. So if you're traveling south, you could encounter this really Saturday late morning heading through the afternoon. Take care. Also take care in your morning commute. Majestic has everything you need to know.
All right, good morning, everyone. Let's do it. We are looking at a lot of different things still. This is going to be I-77, one of our live cameras. This is coming in right there near Gilead. Now, there's no crash there. It's just a lot of people are all heading in the same direction. This is a slow roll, that's for sure, out towards mile marker 23. Once we're looking at my map, still a handful of ongoing problems. Still, I-77 is my watch spot as we're watching this crash here, southbound still, West Boulevard Boulevard, not cleared. This yellow looks better than the orange that we had just about 5 minutes ago, so it's making some progress. This crash finally cleared there on Remount Road on I-77. Although it's cleared, I'm still seeing some delays, and Independence is looking much better as well. Guys.
Majestic things. Today is National Love Your Pet Day, a day dedicated to celebrating the animals that bring joy, comfort, and companionship into our lives.
A chance to give your pets a little extra attention, whether that means an extra walk, a favorite treat, or just some quality time together. Pets of all kinds, part of the celebration. The day also highlights the many benefits pets bring, like lowering our stress and boosting our mood. However you choose to celebrate it, it's a perfect excuse to spoil your furry, or maybe sometimes scaly or hairy or whatever it is, kind of
hairless.
fun to have. Or hairless.
True.
Which is a great opportunity for us to bring up the question, where are we at in getting your kids a pet? We're all wanting to know.
She's late to the game.
Where do we stand?
Late to the game.
Listen, the kids are going to get a pet eventually. We'll get there.
They need it now, because by the time they're teenagers, they're going to be like, I don't really want to take care of a pet. Like, I'm over it.
They're doing this.
This is the window that they need.
I love pets. I grew up with pets. They will grow up with the pet.
Now is not the time right now.
Thank you.
I just feel the need to ask on their behalf, because I know they've been asking you.
It's coming soon.
She hates
in the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, don't say soon.
Yeah.
All right.
Giving her
It's
6
time for us to take a break already.
That's
My
right.
goodness. You know,
Get her out of here.
Look at Julie Kay. She is right there. She is standing by in our live Impact studio. She's going to be coming on at the top of the hour, so make sure that you keep it right here, streaming live. If you have a pet, go out, appreciate, do all the things with your pet. Don't harass those who don't have one just yet. We'll be right back.
What month is it? Seriously, we have a chance for thunderstorms. We have this line that's now starting to re-intensify, so we could have a quick burst of heavier rain, maybe hear a rumble of thunder. Temperatures are bananas warm. We're talking about the mid to the upper 60s across at least the greater Charlotte area. And speaking of Charlotte, you can anticipate this line of rain to be here right around 10:30. So within the next hour and a half or so, but we're already starting to see it work its way into Cleveland County as I am speaking. This is the warmest low that we have of the week and for the foreseeable future. Enjoy it. Temperatures in the mid to the upper 70s. And then guess what? 80 degrees. We're calling for it. That will be a record high for today. And then cooler throughout the weekend. Rain chances both on Saturday and Sunday morning. Freezing Monday and Tuesday morning. All right, Majestic, one last look at traffic.
Good morning, everyone. Well, thankfully, a lot of our accidents are now starting to clear now that we are just nearing 9 o'clock in the morning. Look at that rain, though, across our mountain counties. This specifically coming in from Blowing Rock. Watch for that ponding out on those roads. Of course, not everyone will have that. I-77 there, mile marker 23 out towards Gilead. It is busy, but this is kind of what we're used to this time of the day. At least we don't have any big concerns there. As we are zooming it in, this is one thing you need to know. I-77 southbound just after West Boulevard, there is a crash.